Oh, that's it? Thank goodness. Welcome to 40 Fit Fu. My name is Oscar and this is Mimi.
We're here every Tuesday to give you fitness tips and advice on how you can continue to do Kung Fu or Tai Chi or fitness well into your 40s and beyond.
Love it. I always say love it. You realize that?
Okay.
Okay, great. So the thing is, we are going to be talking about our hip flexor. So what Mimi was doing, she was in a low hill climbing horse stance.
Yeah. So this is one of our basic stances that we do.
And so
every class.
The back leg, she has to extend the hip. The front leg, you have to flex the hip. Now, there's a lot of muscles involved in that. And the same here, when I'm doing this, what we call golden chicken. The front leg here, the top leg is flexing the hip. There's muscles that use that. And then the bottom leg is the hip is being extended. So sometimes when you're not able to get into your stances, it's not so much that, well, it could be that you're not flexible enough, mobile enough to get into that position. The second one that is often forgotten is that you may not be strong enough to pull yourself into that position. So we're going to give you some tips on both.
Okay, so first the stretching part, right?
Yeah.
So always important to stretch this area before you get into those stances or the golden chicken. So one of the hip flexor stretch that we like to do is basically for you Kung Fu students is pretty much almost like a kneeling horse stance is where you're going to start.
Right. The main difference here is that we really want to bias this kind of pelvic tilt so that you get a bigger stretch on the front part of the hip. So one way to visualize this is if you imagine your pelvis like if it was a bowl full of water and you want that bowl to be spilling water out the back. So you've got to tuck that tailbone in and immediately that should put this muscle on stretch. You feel it a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay, so that tail tuck is there and then you want to move the entire body forward. So from the knee to the hip, knee, hip to shoulder, it should be sort of a straight line. Not necessarily vertical, but straight, so you don't lose this. As soon as you do this, boom, you lose the stretch. So you want to keep that tailbone tucked. That's super important. The second thing is we can do a passive hold here for some time and breathe and relax. She could also do some pulses where she's moving back and forth, pulsing back and forth. And for some people, I'm going to grab a stick off screen here. Some people you might need a dowel, some kind of support so that you're not worrying about balancing on one knee. And then Mimi is on a pad. Also super important that if you have any pain while kneeling, it's going to affect your ability to relax into the stretch. So roll up a towel, get a thick pad, roll up a yoga mat, and that will help as well. So this is the hip flexor stretch. From this position, we could also strengthen the opposite side hip flexor by raising it. So a simple way to do that, and this I would recommend you hold on to something for support, or just get a partner to hold something up, and she's going to raise her knee up. So she's going to try to bring up her knee as much as you can. And the way you would do this correctly is how Mimi's doing, which is keeping her body straight. What you don't want is to be moving side to side, and more importantly, don't bend your body towards your knee. So that would not count. That would be a bad rep. And okay, so we've got our hip flexor stretching in the front. We can strengthen it in the back. We can also strengthen the front one in the stretch position by doing a positional isometric, which means imagining that she would drive her knee forward as if she was trying to do a kick. It's going to contract all of this tissue, and she would hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. And the reverse of that then would be trying to squeeze her butt to drive her hip forward, which then allow the front side to stretch. So that is the isometric part to do it. Oh.
Yeah, got a little stretch.
You feel it, right?
To the other side now.
You could do that, absolutely. Okay, so that is stretching the hip flexor on one side, strengthening on the other side. The only other thing that I'll add is we could modify this depending on where you're at. So if Mimi were to lay on the floor, or actually I'll lay on the floor. Do you mind?
Go for it. He just wants to lay on the floor. Yeah. We'll take a nap, okay?
Okay, you could lay on the floor. So I could also do where I try to keep my body nice and straight and bring my knee towards my chest. And if I pull as much as I can with help, then I want to let go and hold. And you see there's a little bit of a gap there. And so that's one way to strengthen the hip flexor. And Mimi's showing the same position from standing can also be a little bit more challenging. So you've got laying on your back, you can do it from kneeling, and you can do it from standing. And that's a great way to start strengthening the hip flexor and also stretching the other side. This is important. I realize I've been on the floor for a while. This is important because the muscles, if you can pull this and hold, it's going to help for all your kicks.
That's right.
And if it's stretched, it's going to help you get into your stances. But there's also strength that's needed to pull yourself down into a squat. If you don't have the requisite mobility, you can meet it halfway with some strength. You can get some pretty big gains.
Yeah, so basically if you want to improve your stances, specifically hill climbing, and all of your kicks, a lot of especially women that are a little bit more flexible, mobile, are like, yeah, I can kick really high, but then I can't hold the kick, right? And so that's where all that strength is important. So you need to probably do a little stretch and more strengthening. And those of you who have kind of that strength, but then it's really tight, do the reverse.
The opposite.
Do more stretching and less strengthening.
Yeah, this is a very good point. There's a balance between both. We can't tell you what it is, but think about what you really enjoy doing, and it's probably the opposite.
Yeah,
it's probably the opposite.
Probably the opposite.
I love doing strength training. I don't enjoy stretching. You know, there's some girls in our Kung Fu class who love doing splits. Probably should be doing some more strength training. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah, so definitely work on your weakness and maintain your strengths. Probably is a good way to find that balance. A lot of people have asked us why they plateau and they don't get any better. That's a big reason. So don't be afraid to tackle your weaknesses. And remember, we're here for you.
We are here for you.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, let us know. We're happy to help. Otherwise, see you next Tuesday.